And then we're wondering about safety. It seems like once a year we have one of these moments where we say, is baseball going to get to the point where they have protective headgear for pitchers? Curt Schilling, kind enough to join us on short notice, the former All-Star pitcher, three-time world champ. Schill, good morning. How are you?
What's up, Dan?
Have you ever been hit like that with a comebacker?
Not in the head.
How close?
Close, but the key to the whole scenario is what part of the head did he get hit in?
The back of the head.
Right. And at no point in a pitcher's life should the back of his head ever be to home plate when he's throwing a pitch. It's a combination of a couple different things. The first and biggest thing is the lack of minor league innings these guys are getting.
Mm-hmm.
The PFP, pitcher's fundamental practice, is such that it's not a 2-week spring training deal for guys that are serious about it. It's something you do all spring training and kind of weekly during the season. You should, your body, and I don't know what the medical science is, but I've talked to people who've said your body will prevent your face from being hit for the most part as an athlete almost every single time. You know, if you're finishing wrong, if you're unbalanced when you finish, you can't move like an athlete. How many times do you see Greg Maddux get hit in the head?
Probably never, but nobody was in better position.
Right. But those are the things in the minor leagues. When you throw 400 or 500 innings in the minor leagues, those are the little things you're allowed to work on for a week or two and to understand them and to understand fielding your position is the difference between winning 17 and 20 games a year. And it's also now becoming every year, you're right, every year somebody gets hit. This is, and I'm not saying it's new because it happened in the past, but it wasn't ever like this. And obviously media is going to make it bigger than it is, I think. But here's the thing. It's never going to happen. You're never, ever going to get the players as part of the CBA to agree to doing that, to helmeting pitchers.
Yeah, I didn't know even if you have a protective liner. But, you know, when you're talking about wearing a face mask, you know, there's no pitcher who's going to agree to do that. And even if they tried it, I would think with just the violence of, you know, delivering a pitch, it's going to alter the mask that would be on your face. It would probably slide, right?
Yeah. It's when you figure out how fast the body's moving through a delivery and the degrees of motion your arm's moving, it's pretty magnificent and amazing. But again, at the end of the day, if you do your PFPs, you don't get hit in the face. You're going to be hit in the body because there's just some times where you can't get out of the way. I mean, I've been hit all over the body, broke a hand, broken elbow, you know, all the other stuff. And the hardest I ever got hit didn't break anything, but the face, you always get out of the way of the face. If you're in a proper position, you will not get hit in the face. I don't care how hard the ball's hit.
But you have these guys throwing harder and coming off the bat faster, right?
Yeah. Well, no, I mean,
it's not.
Are they throwing harder than Nolan Ryan?
Well, I'm saying consistently.
Right. You're right. Yes, that is true. You have more guys throw. Yeah. Okay. But again, when you look at combine the amount of minor league innings these guys are pitching, it's minuscule. And that, in the minor leagues, that's where you learn how to pitch inside. That's where you learn how to drill somebody. That's where you learn how to field your position. That's where you learn how to defend your position. That's where you learn, I mean, all of the little, just like bunting is out of, you know, guys don't bunt well anymore.
Yeah.
The minor leagues is the place where all of those little things, those nuances that make a good big leaguer great happen, and they're not happening as much now.
Do you believe that Aroldis Chapman throws 105?
Yep. Yeah, that's fun.
But do you think that Nolan Ryan actually threw faster than 99.6 or whatever, or 101 or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
Like the radar gun back then as a Jugs gun to what we have now.
Right. Well, and I don't know, Bob Feller used a motorcycle, right?
Yeah, but they had him at 96 miles an hour, I think.
Yeah, when he was like 13, I think it was.
But I always thought, I never saw somebody throw harder than Nolan Ryan. And granted, Chapman throws hard. I just have a hard time thinking that he's throwing it 6 miles per hour faster.
Well, if you watch, first of all, I would tell you, hitters, I think I'll tell you, once you get above 95, there's not a whole lot of difference. It's just really fast. The easiest way to tell is to watch the catcher's glove. Watch the catcher's glove when he's catching somebody throwing 92, 93, 94. Watch where it starts and how it moves. when Aroldis misses a spot, watch how quickly the catcher how much faster the catcher has to move. And then but the other thing is that, my Johnny Padres used to tell me, I'd say, how hard am I throwing? He'd say, the hitters will let you know. And this guy, it's fun to. I have him on my fantasy team, so it's fun as hell to watch.
But does he throw harder than Randy Johnson does?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, but only for an inning. Randy could hit 100 in the ninth on pitch 135.
I never understood that though, Curt. That it's almost as if your body gets looser as you go on. That you can.
Well,
explain it.
What you're seeing, guys that throw this hard are max effort guys, right? I mean, this guy's going. Every pitch that comes out of his hand is physically done at 110%. Whereas a guy like a starter like RJ or with good mechanics, every pitch that comes out of your hand is 75 to 85%.
Oh, okay.
And then, you know what? Runner on third, I need to dial it up. I'm going from 96 to 101 because I've got something left in the tank. I mean, that was always, Billy Wagner and all those guys, it was always amazing. They do it for an inning. I'm not belittling it, but I always used to get the relievers crap. Like, okay, I get it. You threw 99 for 13 pitches. How about throwing 99 on pitch 120?
I also brought this story up a couple of days ago. Remember 2002, you were at the All-Star game, and A-Rod was going to bat third, and you said, I'm just going to tell him I'm throwing it right down the middle. I'm throwing everything right down the middle to see if he
throwing
can.
Fastballs.
Right?
Yeah.
You told him, didn't you?
Yep.
And?
Well, I went to him the day before during BP, and I said, hey, listen, if you come up tomorrow, he was hitting third. I said, if you come up tomorrow and nobody's on, I'm going to throw you nothing but fastballs. And he's like, what? And I was like, I'm telling you, if you come up tomorrow, and he had a smirk on his face, and I'm like, if you hit tomorrow with nobody on, I will throw you nothing but fastballs. I want to see what I can do against the best hitter in the world when I'm telling him what's coming. He's like, all right. He kind of smiled. And then, so I went fastball away at 97, fastball middle out. He fouled off, broke his bat at 98, and then I threw a fastball at 99, and the bat was over. And I walked up to him. I walked up to change balls before the at-bat, and I said, are you ready? And he kind of looked at me and smiled and laughed, and I was like, all right, let's do this. It was fun.
Before I let you go, the Dodgers being careful with Clayton Kershaw with the back. I mean, we talk about Tommy John, we talk about elbows and arms, shoulders, but when you get to the back, how dangerous can this be for Kershaw?
David Wright.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the terrifying thing, and I think you're talking about, and for me, you're talking about one of probably the 10 best pitchers of all time if he stays healthy and continues to go, and even top 20 right now. I've always been a little concerned about his health, and he's stayed very, very healthy. But the hip and the back, those aren't unique. Those aren't common injuries for pitchers. And generally, the back comes from imbalance somewhere in the lower body, or if you have a pre-existing back situation. But yeah, I mean, how do you not play it carefully with him? And knowing him, he'll be out there as soon as he can be out there because he's a badass. He's a tough kid.
I expected you to be at the RNC. Were you asked?
I didn't get invited.
Oh.
I was ready, man. I was ready to stand up there and scream.
Wait, you were in the bullpen? You were getting loose.
I was
in the
hot.
bullpen?
Yeah, I got dry humped. I was ready, man. I so badly wanted to be out because I wanted to speak. Well, I always want to speak, but I'm getting ready to roll into my next career, and I thought this would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was surprised. When they went Scott Baio, that had to hurt you a little bit.
Yeah, you know what? Except for the fact that I'm actually going out to be in Scott's tournament. They have a charity tournament every year. They lost a child to an illness, and I talked to him, and like I'm trying to sound nice about, but I feel like I know what I'm talking about. I'm informed. I'm well read. I try to understand. He's very much the same way. He's not some actor just riffing like Susan Sarandon or some other, dunce who's saying, save the whales. He actually is informed, and so. But yeah, I was a little bit bummed when I heard Tim Tebow at first, and I was like, oh wow, man, that sucks. Tebow's getting a snap, and I'm going to sit here. But yeah, I'm so glad everything happened yesterday the way it did too.
Yeah, you're not in the rotation, man. That's.
I know. At my age, I guess it was inevitable.
Hey, thanks for joining us, show. We appreciate it.
All right, Dano, take care, man.
All right, that's Curt Schilling.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.